Okay, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics. That's Known Classics. Episode number 1414 and Doubleshot number 1308. Yes, this is probably my only video today. I just feel like basically putting this out. Now, what two trades I'm talking about? Well, it's two Captain America trades by Ed Brubaker. First up is a book that I don't think anybody's surprised the fact that I got this book because, well, it's Brubaker and it's his Captain America run. So I gotta review this, despite the fact it's not one of the regular issues, but excuse me, this is part of a 2-year build-up for this one. This is Captain America Reborn. Oh yeah, and here's the thing about the artist of this book. This is not the regular artist. This is not Mike Perkins or Steve Epping. Nope. It's Brian Hitch. You are thinking, Brian Hitch? Yeah, the guy is a good artist. May not be a good writer, but the guy is one damn good artist. And the guy has experience drawing Captain America, well, on the Ultimate series. Yep, that's his experience. Now, this picks up right where 601 left off. Well, mostly 600. This is simply put with this miniseries, the return of Captain America being reborn. And here's something unique about this book. You see, when this miniseries is coming out, came out during the hype that was basically the banner event that was Dark Reign. Of course, this miniseries, the best way to describe it, it's basically a lot of setup for Siege. It's one of many things that built up the events of Siege. Now, the main plot of the series is simply Sharon Carter, the Bucky Barnes Captain America, and the Black Widow, along with Falcon, are trying to get Cap back to present day. Of course, it's revealed that Captain America is unhinged in time, and he goes to various points in his time period. Like he goes to when he first got the injection, when he was first found by the Avengers back in the 60s, and of course various different battles in World War II. Fun stuff there. And that's pretty much a lot of the stuff that he was up to during this whole point of the time. Yeah, this book gets really kind of weird and awesome at the same time because it's Brubaker. That's what he basically is known for, weird and awesome stuff. Like, for instance, the Red Skull himself first starts off in a robotic body, and then we have this thing, we have a subplot where Captain America's body is stolen in present day, and then one of the most weirdest things happens. The Red Skull possesses Captain America's body for about 2 issues. And meanwhile, though, do you know who's trying to hamper the efforts of Bucky, Sharon, Bucky, Sharon, Black Widow, and Falcon? Norman Osborn. Because of course he is. Because it's 2009. Who was the main villain of 2009? Norman Osborn, a Spider-Man villain. It's Bendis for you. Yeah, you gotta thank Bendis for... Well, actually, no. Well, kind of in a way, yes. You got to make Bendis basically making Norman Osborn the primary antagonist of the year of 2009 to 2010. Yeah, that's all him. And of course, because of this miniseries, the Captain America ongoing series was put on hiatus for 6 months just to put up this miniseries, which not a bad idea to do. Because if the miniseries is coming out, like let's say you get the ongoing series published at the same time, it would spoil this miniseries. Because this is something put basically the payoff to 2 years worth of storytelling. Which you got to at least praise Brubaker for that, because he's been building this whole miniseries up since Captain America 25. Well, this volume is 25, that is, yes. And of course, well, then when he had the one point where Cap is possessed by the Red Skull, where he's taking his body for a joyride, he acts a bit out of character. Some people do notice it right away. I like in Dan Slott's Spirit Spider-Man, which came I think it was just 4 years after this miniseries. I think it was just 2 years after this miniseries. Actually, it was 3 years. 3 years after the miniseries concluded. Because when this series ended, it ended leading into the events of Siege, where a lot of the supporting characters were so stupid, and a lot of them were completely oblivious to the fact that Spider-Man was acting completely different. I mean, the first person to notice this was Kane. He was the first person to notice, and then it was Miguel noticing. Of course, everyone else finally noticed after all that period of time. It's kind of dumb, the fact that Dan Slott wrote Captain America himself to be somewhat of an idiot. Yep, so... Yep, and eventually Cap does finally get back to present day, reunites everybody, and then of course he has a big, humongous battle with the Red Skull and his gigantic robot. Excuse me, then there's an explode. And then of course, once Robot Stuff is destroyed, that's the end of the Red Skull. Well, the original Red Skull, that is. Well, the one that was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby way back in Captain America Comics number 3. This Red Skull, the one that appeared all those comics from that point forward up until this very miniseries, he finally dies. After many attempts to kill off the character, this miniseries finally does it. And here's a shocker for you. The man is still dead. Well, this version anyways. Of course, his miniseries was concluded 11 years ago. And at the end of the miniseries, an explosion by the exploding Red Skull robots, Sin became the new Red Skull. This lasted for a pretty good period of time. You gotta thank Brubaker for that. This lasted, I kid you not, for 6 years of basically Sin becoming the Red Skull. Of course, the supporting villains are Norman Osborn, Crossbones, but mostly also Armsole as well. And it is a jam-packed, great miniseries. And the next thing that came after this was Who Will Wield the Shield. But that's not in this trade. Nope. But I'm going to give this trade a 10 out of 10. It's a damn good story, and I highly recommend it. Next up is a pretty controversial story. Now, you're probably thinking, what controversial story, you might ask? Why, it's Captain America, Two Americas. Yes, you're probably asking, Nick, how the heck is this particular storyline controversial? Though this trade does collect Captain America Who Will Wield the Shield and Captain America 602 to 605. Because what happened in issue 602, there was a very controversial thing. That happened just in the opening issue. Of course, the storyline itself was a big controversy, but not as controversial as the opening issue. The Who Will the Shield thing, that is simply put in a way, that's all just pure setup for Siege. Basically Cap and Bucky deciding who will wield the shield, and of course Cap just voluntarily gives the shield to Bucky, and he remains Captain America officially at this point. He still stays as Captain America for a year before Matt Fraction attempts to kill him off in pages of Fear itself. Though Brubaker himself will later fix this because even he realized that killing off Bucky Barnes was an absolute stupid idea. Now, the controversial thing with this one, in the opening issue of the storyline Two Americas, we have protesters. Yes, protesters who are basically just not liking socialists very much. As a matter of fact, we kind of go through that right now. But the way things are now, it's kind of worse than it was back then. And this is also something dealing with the Boston Tea Party. The political party, not official like big party like the Democrats, Republicans. You don't hear very much from them over the last several years, but these guys were very patriotic, and in the storyline, the Falcon called the Boston Tea Party white crackers. Yep. And later on, even though the first issue did receive a lot of flack for that, but the storyline itself was not that bad. But you're probably thinking, who's the main villain in the storyline? Well, Red Skull's gone. Sin is not in this storyline. We don't get followed for that. But the main villain is William Burnside, the Captain America of the 1950s. Who in this storyline does the most stupidest thing he can ever do. What does he do? He joins the racist group, the Watchdogs. Oh boy, these guys. Yes, the Watchdogs. The characters know where these like dog costumes, and these guys are racist like to the extreme. They're probably by far one of the most racy groups ever to appear in comics. If you're probably asking who created the Watchdogs, now yes, I do know that these particular group does appear on episodes of Agents of Shield, where they are a group who, how should I put this? They, well, basically hate Inhumans. Excuse me. The guys who created this group are Mark Greenwald and Tom Morgan. They are domestic terrorists who appeared occasionally since the 1980s. Now, here's the things these guys don't like. Oh boy, they're considered as basically they believe in family values. They don't like pornography, obscenity, sex education, abortion, homosexuality, and the teaching of evolutionary theory. And these are their basic stuff they know for doing. Vandalism, arson, intimidation, assault, kidnapping, brainwashing, and murder. Now you're probably thinking about reading about this. Does that sound like something very similar to a particular very controversial movement that we have nowadays? Kind of, some of the stuff associated with it. Yes, I know the Black Lives Matter basically has been loosely associated with it. Basically, people who are kind of part of it, but not really. They're doing their own terrorist group that are basically similar to AFTA. Yes, but that is simply put what these people are. It is by far one of the most strangest things that by far one of the most strangest groups ever created by Mark Greenwald. I don't know if Greenwald himself ever did an interview where he regretted creating this terrorist group. He probably wanted to create some bad guy group for Captain America, so create a group of domestic terrorists. Okay, and William Burnside becomes a member of this group because he considered them to be true patriots, and we consider basically what they stand for. You probably were like, really? You consider these guys to be true patriots? Especially since they vandalize, they basically destroy, they do all this stuff. Yeah, I'm like, why the heck would you even bother with this at all? Yeah, I'm not sure what the heck Mark Greenwald was thinking when he created this group. This is one thing that I did not. If you read any of Mark Greenwald's comics, you probably would agree the Watchdogs are one of these dumbest things that he ever created. And of course, William Burnside convinces one person to dress as Bucky Barnes, and he has the most stupidest plan I have ever heard of. Okay, he dresses a Captain America costume. He says his big plan. What is his big plan in the storyline? He plans to blow up Hoover Dam. And he wants people to watch it. I'm like, okay, why the heck do you want to blow up Hoover Dam for? Something that was built back during the Depression and named after then President Herbert Hoover. Why the heck would they blow it up for? I have no idea. The thing was built back in the early 30s. Though he's stopped by, of course, the Bucky Barnes Captain America. Now, I should also point out that the artwork in this storyline mostly is done by Luke Ross, who is a very good artist, and Booch Goose, who co-does the Who Will the Shield storyline in one shot. That one shot is fantastic. I love it. The Two Americas. This is probably by far, in my opinion, his Edward Baker's weakest storyline he ever did for Captain America, but thank God the book gets a lot better after this, with having Bucky Barnes Captain America fight Baron Zemo, which is a lot better. Fighting the Watchdogs game is by far one of the dumbest things he can do. Oh, if you're curious though, what the heck do the Watchdogs even look like, you might ask? Well, the comic verse people do have a pretty good idea what the Hebrew version. Okay, here are the Watchdogs. These are the Watchdogs. Yeah, their costumes are silly, but it was the 80s when they were first designed. So I'm not going to blame Greenwald for that, but oh my gosh. Yeah, they're just basically originally tagged as for the John Walker U.S. agent character. Yes. But if you want to give my official rating for this one, Captain America Reborn, 10 out of 10. The Captain America Who Owns the Shield, that one also gives 10 out of 10. This story, like Two Americas, I'm giving 8.5 out of 10 because I don't care for the Watchdogs. Because they are just another group I'm not really interested in reading about. I mean, these groups are a lot more interesting than reading comics. AIM, the Circus of Crime, Hydra, though they're basically way overexposed. Magna, the criminal organization Empire, not the actual crossover. The Serpent Society and Serpent Squad. Those villain groups, I'm a lot more interested in reading stories about than the freaking Watchdogs. Yeah. The trade itself, I get basically an 8.5 out of 10, but the best thing about it is the Who Will Wield the Shield one shot. Yep. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for this particular review. Stay tuned tomorrow to probably go through another comic corner, and that'll probably be it because I don't think I have anything else to talk about tomorrow. Well, I'm also planning to do a review with my friend Edgar on the recent AEW pay-per-view Double or Nothing. I watched it. It was really good. I loved it. Okay. Excuse me. See you next video. Bye.